lubricant that you have. Now, this is if you first read about the stats, you think, oh, this is magic. This is black magic in a powder in a bottle. But essentially, a lot of the friction, or most of the friction and the energy is consumed by friction in the engine. And your graphene added to the engine, you add it into the diesel or oil, it reduces that friction and gives incredible, mind-boggling performance and payback. That's a do now that you could put into any diesel vehicle, virtually any vehicle, and just run through and I know that these have been, your results have been quantified by University of Queensland, I think. Just run us through those stats, because they are just quite incredible for reducing emissions today.
Yeah, so I've been in Shell for 20 years, as I said, and I've sold a lot of diesel and I've sold a lot of LNG. And I know the market that is to be able to build those supply chains is intense. It takes a long time, potentially decades, in some cases, definitely 10 years, in some cases 5 years, to do really large diesel supply chains. LNG, a bit longer, obviously, because they've got billions of dollars of equipment. And that's not going anywhere, right? There's been more than $1 trillion a year spent on oil and gas. And that's not going to change. I think it's $1.5 trillion spent last year. And it was $1 trillion a few years ago under IEA data. So why is that? Why? Well, actually, because diesel and fuel are so energy rich, so energy dense. They've got right now, 130 times or 60 to 130 times more energy than the best battery per space or per kilogram. There's so much energy, but you lose a lot from heat. But still, they're just. So how can we help? And this is what this is about: is to ease to the emissions and also provide it as a cost saving. Because I think always environmental outcomes improvements should always come through cost savings. Otherwise, I don't think the market's incentivized to do that. And we just want to offer that with our product. So this one here is a 500 ml bottle. It's available right now. It will, there's a saving of around 8.5% fuel saving, and that will go into one truck. So a large rig. There's about 80,000 of those in Australia, about 10 million of them in China. And that 500 ml bottle will go into 50 litres of oil, so 1 in 100. And then in the end, the graphene is only only in total at 0.01%. So 1/10,000th is what's actually the graphene is in the engine oil. And then what that does is it both fills in the wear scars of all the metal, because this is atomic level carbon that we make here. And those atomic carbon pieces fill into the metal score. And so it improves the sealing wherever there's any leaks in pistons. Also, it lubricates it, because obviously it's carbon, it's graphite. It's well known, it's a good lubricator. It sticks to everything. And there's small, tiny carbon atoms. You're talking less than 10 atoms high and a couple of hundred carbon atoms wide. So they're tiny, very tiny. Doesn't have a problem with your filter. We filter this before we release it as a quality assurance at the end, so we know it's not going to chug stuff up your filters. And then what it does also, it takes the heat out of your engine as well. So it increases your engine oil viscosity and then runs that. So what's called your hydrodynamic thin film effect, which is where your bearing is running in oil. And the oil, it's supposed to float the shaft. And what we're able to do is take the heat out, and then that oil runs on, it actually starts to lift the shaft up. And that's where you start to see the fuel savings as well. There's a few other things that we know it's doing as well, but they're the main two effectives. And you can just ask AI if you want. I use Perplexity. Just ask, how does graphene affect engine oil in engine lubrication? And it'll tell you.
What's the payback on buying that product and putting it in a rig?
That one's $149. That'll do 10 small cars or one large truck. so one B double or something. That'll save you. It depends on how long your oil change. So if you're doing 10,000 kilometers, that'll save you about $1,200. So the payback is, potentially a week. If you're doing 100,000 kilometers, which some trucks can do, up to 100,000 kilometers oil change, that'll save you 10 grand. So it depends. It's not. It hasn't got a life to worry about. It's more when you drain it out. Well, you've got to put it back in, and that's what I'm talking about. So you've got a few days. If you're running long kilometers per day, of course this works on diesel engines for power generation. It works on construction sites for farmers. There's I think from memory,
any combustion engine,
engine and petrol as well. Yeah, it does both.
Yeah,
it's not just diesel. So, we're focusing on diesel because diesel is generally a business kind of engine, and and also this works really at best at high load. So the higher the load, the better. If it's a low load engine, don't worry about it. Don't put it in. If it's a high load engine and you're just pushing the engine to its maximum, and it's especially if it's overheating, that's when this will reduce the temperature.
A big truck hauling something uphill.
Yeah, that's what it does. It does really well. That's its focus. And there's an enormous amount of emissions we can save with this one product. I think
it's huge, and it's a do now, and that's what anything done now is great.